Hey guys, welcome out to the range. Alright, I'm gonna step on some toes. As you guys know, I do not like running optics on my handgun. A few days ago I had some students out here and every one of those guys had an optic on their gun. And I was like, cool, I want to ask you guys, what are your views on an optic? And one of them was like, look, I know you don't like optics. I said, no, that's beside the point. I said, it's not that I don't like optics, I love optics. My GS-17 has an optic on it, but my GS-17 is not an EDC gun. And I asked the guys, honest appraisal, how long did it take you? And they're like, oh, dude, we had to pour so many rounds through these guns. Guys, everybody that I talk to says that. Along that same vein, this is why I say to you, this is why I like the big target versus the little target. The reason I have a lot more of these is these cost a lot less than these guys. Not to mention, these are very light, and that is a target system. That thing is massive. It's a 3/8 solid steel. It's actually a rifle grade steel, but the reason it says handgun cal only is because if you're close enough to read that, you're too close to shoot that with a rifle. That's the only reason. Okay, I like this one for everyday easy training, moving around the range. I like this one better for the same reason that I don't like optics on the handgun. The reason for that is when you're working with an optic on a handgun, you have a disembodied dot out in front of you. And with a handgun, it's very easy to lose that dot. And what you end up having to do, you end up having to slew the gun around to find the dot. Well, the same thing with this target versus this target. When I shoot at the smaller target, I have to find my visual cues, meaning I have to remember, right now as I'm looking, I see my red, well, these Proctor Y Notch sights, honestly, they act like red dots. I see the red dot of the fiber optics hovering right over his nose. Right, so center of his nose is where it hits. But if I'm looking for his body, big time, I lose cues because the body, for the further shots, there are no shoulders on this guy. Whereas this guy, I have all the cues I need. I find his face, I go down, and on either side of my gun, I see shoulders. So I'm able to find the visual cues that I need for hitting that guy from a distance or up close because he's shaped like the human shape. The visual cues that are necessary for finding a dot are there with a rifle because you're making contact with the comb of the stock, so you're always going to find that dot. It's there, it's out in front of you. With a handgun, you're missing those visual cues. And it hit me the other day when I was training with that guy versus that guy that really is what it's like to be training with a red dot and be new to the red dot. Once you lose the visual cues that you're accustomed to, you have to retrain your eyes to find something else, to find that. And people always say to me, all I do is dip the weapon, which drops the dot, and let me rephrase that. People say to me that when they're working with the red dot, if they lose it, they just track their iron sights and there's the red dot. Well, my thing is, if you're just tracking your iron sights and there's your red dot, well, why don't you just depend on your iron sights? Man, I hope my camera was running, because yeah, it was running, because that was a long shot just right off the cuff. We are probably almost 25 yards from that guy over there. Good iron sights, especially iron sights that run off fiber optics, will behave just like a red dot. And I mean just like a red dot. They will have the same exact effect, but the difference is they're always connected to that gun. You're never having to look for them, because when you bring that gun out in front of you, the visual cues to find your sights are your forearm, your hand, the back of the gun, the rear sight, boop, front sight, there it is. Instead of looking through a window and trying to find a disembodied dot that's floating out in front of you. I know I'm stepping on a lot of toes when I say this, but guys, I'm trying to free you. I am trying to free you from having to spend that much money on something that you really don't need to have. A lot of this stuff has come from the competition world, and now it's moved into the tactical arena. And put the work in, guys. All you have to do is put the work in. Honestly, it doesn't matter what I say in this video. I'm going to get punched in the nose. It is what it is. Guys, everything I do at Tier 1 Citizen is to try to help you realize your potential. Have a good one.